Okay, one of our traditions we've had for a number of years is to make a cake on our last night. So we're going to bake a cake out here in the woods. I'm going to show you how we do it. So I say it's a cake. It's really muffin mix. Now, I didn't show you packaging it up. So all it is part of a bag of just add water muffin mix. And it's oatmeal muffin mix, low fat I think it is, and then all it is, you just add water to it. And then I've added raisins and dried apple pieces. That's how we're going to make it. So I like to mix it in a big bag. So I take one of my food bags for the week, because I package all my food independently in a bag. And I'm going to pour the cake mix into that bag. And then just like making bannock, I'm going to knead that and make a batter. So I'll pour in filtered water, and I'll knead it in there, and I'll try to get it all wet. And it's going to be fairly liquidy, and you can have some dry spots if you're not careful. Just kind of knead it, knead it, knead it. And this is a great treat, and we have it on our last night. Pretty much every trip I go on, we bake a cake on the last night. It takes quite a bit of fuel. That's one of the reasons we do it the last night. So I'm going to make like a double boiler in my large pot. That's how I'm going to bake it. So that's all pretty liquidy. So I'm going to zip the top on it. Zip the top so it doesn't fall out. So I can set it aside. Now, in my large pot, I'm going to put, you need 3 stones. I've used sticks before. They do work, but they don't work real good. 3 stones, all about the same thickness. You put them in the bottom of the pot like so, and then I'm going to just cover those with water. I have filtered water. You can use right out of the lake, which is what I usually do, but I got lots of filtered water. So I'm going to put those in. That's going to make my double boiler. So I'm going to bring that to a boil over my stove and just let that simmer. So as soon as it boils, I'll listen for it to boil. I'll turn it down as low as it will go, and I'll listen for the bubbling, and I'll just let it sit and let it boil. So this takes about 30 minutes to make this cake over the stove. And it's going to be dark when it'll be darker when it's done. We're going to have a fire going, and so we can show you that sort of stuff. So the next thing you need to do is you need to make a cake pan, and it's just a piece of tin foil. I'll tell you right now, the more heavy folds you get in it, the more the cake will stick in the outside of it. So you want the outside as smooth as possible. You need to be able to fit the pot cover on as well, so it has to be low enough so that it doesn't touch. Another mistake I've made is to bring too much cake batter, and then as it's cooking it raises and it gets all over the cover. And so anyway, I've tried to get a more reasonable amount of cake mix. So this is kind of a challenge to make the bowl. So you just kind of form it and shape it, and I'm not going to show you the whole process. It usually takes me 10 or 15 minutes to kind of get it the way I want to. So I'm just going to go and start making it, making folds and stuff in it, and I'll show you the finished product when we're done. Then I'll pour the cake batter in, and we'll get started. We'll get started cooking it. Okay. So here's my pan. It looks similar to a bowl, and it doesn't. If you got little gaps in it, it's really hard, like in the seam. If you got little gaps in the pan, it doesn't matter. If big gaps, your dough will run right out. But so I'm just going to set that in there. I'm going to situate the rocks kind of more to the center. So I want that pan to sit up. It's also really important. The lid fits on tight. The lid fits on tight. So then I got my cake mix here. And I'll pour in my cake mix into, whoops. Into my pot like that. My pan rather, my cake pan. There's a raisin, we want that. Get it out like that. There we go. Try not to get that all over the place. Set that aside. So that's ready to go. So I'll put the cover on. See the apples, and the camera's got the smoke going right at me here. That's okay. And we'll be back in a second. I'll get her on the burner. Okay, so we changed locations here. It's getting darker, as you can tell. Got a little more wind. There's my flame blowing over. So we're just gonna bring, like, she's all ready to go here. Right at the edge of my pot. I don't like that. I'm gonna adjust my pan rather. So I'm just gonna bring that to a boil. As soon as it starts boiling, I'm going to turn it down to low. It's not in the shot very good, is it? There we go. I'll turn it down to low, and I'm just going to basically let it simmer for 30 minutes. And when I think it's done, I'm not even going to check it till 30 minutes. 30 minutes, I'm going to take probably a stick to use like a toothpick to see how cooked it is. When it's all said and done, it will probably be a little bit doughy and wet in the middle, but it's going to be hot and moist and delicious cakiness. So here we go. So I won't make you watch it boil and cook and all that stuff. We'll be back for the finished product. Okay, so there it is. It's pretty watery on top. I'm looking around. I've got water at the bottom still. Yep. So I'm going to let that set probably, it's been 30 minutes. I'm going to let it go for another 10 minutes to try to solidify the top up a bit so it's not quite as runny on top. But it's looking pretty good. Okay, here we go. So it's another 10 minutes in, so a total of 40 minutes. It's split in the top. I got a super clean stick here. So I push it down through and it doesn't come out covered in dough, a little bit there. So I'd say she's ready for eating. Pretty good. That's real good.
Mine was good.
How was yours?
Really good.
It's a little bit doughy, but really not bad. Could have gone another 10 minutes.